Ian Higton, Halo.
Hello.
Infinite. I've got an infinite amount of time to talk to you about Halo Infinite. Well, I don't actually.
Yeah, I'm going to be editing this, so finite, please.
A finite amount of time to talk about Halo Infinite campaign.
Yes.
Which, it seems pretty good, actually. So my first question is Halo back?
Halo is indeed back. You'll be happy to hear Halo's back, and it's bloody brilliant. I love it. I absolutely love it. I, like many people, kind of fell off the Halo bandwagon once 343 took over, and they took it in a few directions that, fans didn't really appreciate too much. But this game, everything about this game encapsulates kind of the feeling I had back in the day of playing Halo Combat Evolved. And that's basically the fact that there are amazing fighting set pieces. You feel like this badass super soldier. You'll have heart in your mouth moments of combat, like times when you feel like an ultra invincible beast on a battlefield. Other times when you're running, skin of your teeth just escaping, letting your shield recharge and then running back into the fray and just meleeing people in the face. Honestly, the whole Halo combat loop is there. Even just sat here now talking about it is me wasting time not being able to get back there to play it. It's so good.
Wow, that is a very shining endorsement. I mean, okay, so look, the biggest change to Halo Infinite is probably the open world.
Yeah.
And in your preview, you were worried that there wasn't going to be much to discover in amongst all the waypoint markers. So the biggest question is, has your opinion changed now that you've actually explored the ring?
So for people who didn't watch the preview video, basically we got to play a couple of hours of the open world. That was enough time to kind of uncover a little bit of the map and realize that it was very much like a Ubisoft open world. It is littered with map markers, and in between those map markers it didn't seem like there was much to do. We didn't get much time to go off the beaten track and explore just random areas of the map, and it felt like those map markers were just there to guide you from point A to point B with not much going on in the middle at all. That is still kind of true, but there are actually some nice little secret places that aren't marked on the map that you can stumble across. I'm not going to spoil them, but there's some Easter eggy bits. There's bits that Halo fans will really appreciate. And it does give it a bit more of a sense of discovery that we were hoping for with the preview.
So the inclusion of the open world is ultimately justified. I mean, that format, it works for Halo.
It does, yeah. I was a little bit worried that it wouldn't work, but yeah, it does. They start the game off, the first 2 levels of the game actually are very much a traditional Halo linear fare. You start off in a spaceship, just like you do in Halo Combat Evolved. It's all corridors and shooting grunts, and then you go down to the Halo and you start in the Forerunner ruins, and again that's very linear, and you go through the traditional Forerunner triangular corridors and stuff. But then when it opens up and you see that open world for the first time, it does get a little bit daunting, and you do, at first you're a bit like, oh, is this actually going to be very Halo? But as soon as you come across your first group of Banished, you get back into that fight and you're dodging needler blasts and chucking grenades and running around meleeing people in the face. Oh, it just, it just gives you a little bit more space to punch people in the head, basically.
So, because you mentioned about waypoints, what is there to actually do at these waypoints? It doesn't feel like filler or anything like that.
Well, there are quite a lot of waypoints. Some of them do feel a bit filler. I mean, the most important ones are probably FOBs, forward operating bases. You go, you take them down. Once you've taken them down and liberated them, it unlocks a fast travel point and also a place where you can call in vehicles and guns and things.
Sounds a bit Far Cry, actually.
Yeah. It's super Far Cry formula, that one. There's also other little ones you can do. There's clusters of Marines that you can go and rescue. What's cool about that is when you rescue those Marines, they'll tag along, they'll follow you behind and get stuck in with you and help you along. Although they normally end up dying. So why did I bother rescuing you if you're going to get crushed by a chopper? Yeah, there's high-value targets are pretty cool. They're like big brutes or elites that are, have like really large health bars that you have to take out. There's some pretty exciting, almost like mini boss battles around the map.
Oh, cool.
You can find upgrade points, which are called Spartan cores. During the game, you'll find dead Spartans, and they'll drop these suit upgrades. I think there's 4 or 5 suit upgrades. One gives you extra shields, one gives you a drop shield, one lets you dodge, and then you follow the waypoints of these Spartan cores, and they're basically currency. The more you get, the more upgrades you can buy for those unlocks. Oh, there's also like, I think they're called Mjolnir closets or something.
Mjolnir?
Mjolnir? Meow meow.
Meow meow? Meow meow.
Did you say meow meow?
Meow meow.
Yeah, meow meow. Meow meow lockers. I think in meow meow lockers. Basically, they don't do anything for the campaign, but they do unlock some cosmetics for multiplayer.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And there's also some big combat areas. They're not part of the main campaign, but they're like really big facilities, like prisoner processing plants and stuff that give you an extended, like 20-minute odd battle to kind of liberate a big base. And doing a lot of these things unlocks stuff called Valor, which the more Valor you have, the more vehicles and guns you can call in from your forward operating bases.
Nice.
Yeah, there's plenty to do, but it is kind of standard open world fare.
Yeah.
If you've played an open world Far Cry game or Assassin's Creed game, you kind of know what to expect.
Does that work with Halo though? I mean, does the switch to an open world, obviously it makes it maybe like a bigger, longer game than what we're used to, because I mean the Halo campaigns in the past, they always seemed very concise, you know, very, very like specifically tailored to tell the exact story. But does adding all this sort of open world stuff, you know, the standard open world fare, does it detract from that sort of concentrated experience, or does it actually work for the story that they're trying to tell?
I'd say that it works. Generally, it works good. There are some pacing issues. In the Halo campaigns, you're used to thundering forward from set piece to set piece, from like lore drop to lore drop. Here, there will be points where you're just hoovering up collectibles and stuff. You know, that really brings it down to a plod, the pacing of the game. But it also makes it feel a lot meatier than before, because you can just wander around from waypoint to waypoint and get into these little incidental battles when you come across packs of brutes or whatever.
Yeah.
But it does feel a lot longer than previous Halo games, and I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that, for me at least, it felt extra challenging. It feels way harder. Like, for me, I played on normal difficulty, and it felt more like heroic difficulty.
Oh.
Especially the boss fights. Oh my god, the boss fights are just hard as nails. Like, I was spending upwards of 15 minutes on some boss fights, getting a bit ragey at points. Because, oh my god! Yeah, there's one boss fight kind of near the start where you're in a very enclosed area with a very, very angry brute with a gravity hammer, and just avoiding that hammer, because that hammer will take you out really quickly, 2 hits and you're gone. And getting out of the way of that hammer is a nightmare, and it's very scary as well. You're like, it's charging at you. You're like, oh shit, it's gonna batter in. So the open world definitely helps to extend the experience, but in a way that's because it also slows down the pace a lot once you've left the golden path and going off and exploring stuff for yourself, basically.
So touching on a little bit there, but like I mean the combat is obviously what most people are here for. And so how has the combat evolved in Halo Infinite?
Nice. Well, like I said at the start, it feels like old school Halo. So you have all these, even in the open world, you have these areas that are combat bowls, these open arenas, and handily placed cover objects and things. And you can tell when a fight's meant to be there. But there seems to be way more weapons lying around, is one thing. There's a lot of weapons in this game, and it felt to me like the ammo was in short. I don't know whether, maybe that's my bad aim, but it felt to me like the ammo was in short supply, and I was always kind of running out of ammo, and that was forcing me or maybe it's encouraging me to switch guns and try out different weapons. So a lot of the time I was flying around the battlefield, picking up different guns, trying out different combinations of weapons, maybe, a plasma gun to take out some shields, and then switch to a kinetic weapon to take out the fleshy parts of the baddies. I honestly don't remember switching weapons as much back in the day. Maybe I did. Wow. It's been a while. Along with all these weapons lying around, they've also added these things like they're called power cores, which basically they're just explodey barrels. But there's loads of them lying around now, and not only can you like pick them up and throw them to explode your enemies, you can also you can grapple them with your grapple hook. You've got a new grapple hook weapon. You grapple hook them and you pull them. It's like scorpions, like get over here, move, and you.
That's awesome.
So you're running around, you grapple a barrel, pull it to you, and then you just overarm throw it at a brute, and they'll just explode. That makes you feel super powerful.
Yeah, because actually that grapple hook was in a lot of videos and trailers, like leading up to the game's release, wasn't it? Is it useful? Is it a thing that, you reckon people will sort of turn to a lot? Or is it just one of those weird gimmicks that games have every so often? So
I was worried when I first started that it would be a gimmick, but it's actually probably almost my favorite part of the game. Like, it's so versatile. I use it to get around the landscape really quickly. You can hook onto basically anything. So you can kind of like hook onto a tree as you're running towards it, and then slingshot for a speed boost down a hill. When you're going through the corridors, you can hook onto doorways and like shoot through doorways. So you like burst into a battle. You're like, here I am. I love grapple hooking enemies, flying towards them with a big meaty elbow at the end of it, and then just finishing them off with a gunshot if I need to. It makes the combat so speedy. You can zip up and down, so multi-leveled combat is possible. It makes traversal really good because you can grapple upwards and find out of the way places up on big hilltops, or just running from waypoint to waypoint is made more fun by the fact you can grapple the ground and then just spring forwards. It has a little bit of a recharge time which you can lower by getting Spartan cores to make running around with the grapple hook even speedier. But I'm a huge fan of the grapple hook. You get I mentioned it earlier, you get loads of different upgrades for your suit, like a drop shield that gives you something to hide behind for a limited time, or a dash maneuver. I don't use any of them. I just, because you can only use one at a time. I'm on the grapple. I love it. It's so immense.
It seems like one of those things, like a slide or a mechanic or something like that. That once it's in a game, you can't really imagine going back to not having it.
Yeah, there is a slide in Halo as well. So you can chain it up. You could slide under enemy fire, grapple hook to an enemy in a distance. Actually, not super far in the distance. I should say the grapple hasn't got a great reach. But it has enough. So it has enough of a reach to let you get around pretty quickly.
Enough
and in fact,
of a Halo reach?
Yeah, that. Oh, nice. Big fan of puns. You remember I told you about that brute with the gravity hammer?
Yes.
So that brute was just destroying me over and over again. And then it helped me kind of train with the grappling hook, because in the end I was grappling the floor behind it as it was swinging its hammer. So I'd zip under the hammer, turn around and shoot it in the back. And then, zipping around with the grappling hook and in between hammer blows. Yeah, it felt great. And
so the visuals that we're seeing in this gameplay actually look pretty great, which, considering the absolute stick that this game got when it first revealed, I mean, you had memes of Craig and stuff. It's an impressive turnaround. I think it's really benefited from having that delay, right?
Yeah, visually it looks beautiful. I was playing it on a gaming monitor, and some of the vistas are incredible. It does look really beautiful. There's some really awesome lighting effects. There's a bit I remember near the start. I was going on this moving lift, and I was holding a blue Covenant carbine rifle, and I've always thought those guns were smooth, but the light was hitting it in a way that it's kind of made of, what's the shape of Giant's Causeway?
Oh,
that shape.
like sort of, yeah, like
Yeah.
little hexagons and stuff?
Yeah, it's like made of little plates of hexagons almost.
Oh,
which
wow.
And the light was bouncing off each one individually, and I was just kind of hypnotized by it. It looked so good.
Wow.
So visually stunning, and I've got to give a shout out to the audio design as well. It's some of the best sounding crunches and booms
Crunchy.
I've heard. Oh, headshotting, crunch, melee,
Love
crunch.
that.
The shotgun you get has this just incredible boom that is probably giving me tinnitus. It's just, it's
Ringing
so good.
endorsement.
Yeah, literally. And yeah, the audio design is so good. The Halo, when the Halo orchestra kicks in when you're in a big battle, along with all these booms and thuds and grunts, high-pitched grunt screams and brute roars. It's another level of presentation for a video game. It really does feel like next gen, when everything is combined together to into this perfect whole. And also, explosions in this game are so good with the explodey barrels and everything. The power cores, even, you get some really great explosions. Lots of fun ragdollings of enemies flying everywhere and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a throwaway thing to say, but like really, these are the things that games like this, that, it absolutely hinges on all these mechanics and stuff feeling satisfying to pull off, and the sound design has a huge part to play in that.
It really does. It's the sort of game you want to play with some really good gaming headphones on, turn all the lights off, just get absorbed by it, and yeah, you'll just have a chest full of adrenaline the whole time.
So visuals great, audio great. Have you had any performance issues though? Because Digital Foundry mentioned some tech issues, but our Eurogamer's Wes, who played Infinite for the site review, he said he didn't get any.
Yeah, that's interesting, really, because Wes played on the Xbox Series S. He said he had no issues at all. I've been playing on the PC review build, and I've had 2 hard crashes, so crashing to the desktop, which is, I had to redo a really hard battle, which that really did my head in.
Oh, no.
There's also been, some texture flickers during cutscenes, and there was a really weird moment where I started to blow up some of the Banished, and they'd start just slowly cartwheeling in midair, like they were slow motion trapeze artists.
That sounds like a pretty fun glitch, to be honest.
It did look very fun, but yeah, it was a little bit immersion breaking.
Yeah.
So yeah,
like Cirque du Soleil. What?
Like a slow-mo Cirque du Soleil with giant gorilla beasts doing the trapezings. So I don't know. It could be just that I'm playing on an unstable review build, and the final build that comes out in a couple of days will be, there'll be a day one update or anything. But and our PCs are pretty decent. Our Intel beasts.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
It was a little bit disappointed with some of the glitches. The hard crashes were very annoying. But
that's a shame.
But as I was mentioning with the visuals and the audio design, there's so much good stuff happening in between those bits that I kind of didn't care.
You can just let those slide a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so those slight tech issues aside, it sounds like I can't remember you absolutely gushing about a game like this in some time, but did you have any disappointments? Were there any sort of things that you think people might be a little bit disappointed with?
Honestly, my biggest disappointment of the game, I think, is the fact that there's no co-op yet.
Right.
That's being added a couple of months down the line as a future update. The Halo campaigns have always been stuff I've enjoyed playing through with my brother or one of my friends online. And if you're expecting to have a Christmas session with a close friend or a relative, that's not going to happen this Christmas. You're only going to be able to play through it in solo. I don't know whether the challenge will scale with co-op actually, but I think having a co-op partner would make the the harder difficulty levels seem a little bit more manageable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really my only disappointment. And the fact that I guess story-wise, it was a bit just like AI. Get that AI. Special weapons. Brr, gruff. There wasn't much going on.
That was
the
uncanny.
campaign. I don't even. There's a guy in a spaceship who helps you out, and I don't even remember his name. It just was a bit forgettable, the whole lore and the story.
Sure.
I was just in it for the fighting. So I guess, yeah, that was a little bit disappointing that the campaign wasn't too memorable. There's many surprises in there, but there's nothing like, there's no big surprise. It's
No
not
big
like Halo
reveals,
1
yeah.
where suddenly you're in the library and the flood come and you're like, what the f are these things? There's nothing of that. But yeah.
But the set pieces make up for that?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. It's just, I can't stop thinking about it.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. And that other Halo fans sounds like they will absolutely enjoy it. So Halo is back. Wow.
Halo is back. It says
to say,
hello
yeah.
and not goodbye.
Oh my God, you were storing that one up, weren't you?
Hell yeah. So, yeah, I don't really have, I think I've pretty much gushed for long enough. If you're still not convinced...
A flood of information, if you will,
yes,
about Halo.
nice. Excellent. I think I heard Zoe cringing from...
Yeah, no, I felt a disturbance in the force there.
No, if I haven't sold it to you yet, and you want to see what it's like, I'm going to be doing a bumper stream of it on launch day. I'm going to try and do a lot, like maybe I'll do a 4 hour.
Wow.
Any excuse to play more of it, basically.
Do it.
But I'll be playing it from the start. So that'll be on Wednesday. I'm not sure what time yet. Whatever time, I'll definitely be streaming it because I can't wait. And I'd say if you are an Xbox owner or a PC owner, get it. You won't
You'll
be
have
disappointed.
infinite amounts of fun. See how I took that full circle?
Yeah,
A Halo,
but
if you
although
will.
I did complete it, so it's finite. It's actually, yeah, we should mark it down because Halo Infinite is kind of a...
Well, unless you're playing multiplayer.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Then
Okay, you can have that Halo. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a good... I can't think of any more Halo puns now.
I'm all out. The
yeah,
tank was there was very little in the tank to begin with, but I've run out completely now.
Yeah, never mind. Finish the fight!
Bye.